Yeah. So, morning, guys. Happy Sankrant to all of you. I hope you enjoy kite flying in the evening. And I just did a quick class with Rohan this morning. He's, I think, done a wonderful lecture yesterday with you guys on theory, in theory on steel, okay, and very specifically the Chicago style and the different phases, which has very kind of magnificently covered most of the aspects that we want to convey to you in terms of technology. But because we need to get into the details of the actual working of steel, we can't spend so much time on all that. So it's wonderful that he's done that part of the job for us. So now I hope you guys are very well aware of this trajectory of moving from load bearing to the cast iron to steel, right? And moving vertically upwards because steel enables you to do that, correct? And now you're very well aware, you know, you've understood clearly what the Chicago style is all about, right? And how that came about to be like a starting point for breaking away from the load bearing and getting into this frame kind of construction. Okay, so that was a fantastic class, I think, that he did. So we will now move on. Please get your sketchbooks and pencils and everything out because today we will see how to actually get that done. So steel is basically about the material, what the property of that material is, and how do we connect these members together. It's about members basically. Okay, you know from the first year that we've called steel columns as stanchions, we call them as I-beams, we have C channels, we have plates, you know, all of that. And it's basically about this assembly. What is steel frame? A steel frame structure? It's about the assembly of these different members. Okay. So I'll share my screen now. Please keep your sketchbooks out so we can you can take down every time you feel the need to. Also, we'll go slowly. Yeah. We won't be in a rush with this class. I don't mind if we take 2 classes for this, but I don't want to rush it. Okay, so take your time to sketch, take your time to understand. Right now, tell me if you can see my screen.
Yeah, Shravan, you raised your
So
hand.
yeah, so what time do we have services after this class? Has that
Yeah, you have
timetable thing?
services. Yeah, services. I forgot that last time. Sorry about that. I extended my class last time. I thought it was till 12 baje. So you have services class, which is what is 250 minutes from 9 o'clock? 250 minute slots, I mean.
9:50 and 10:40. 10:40 they will have services.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll try and finish by about 10, 10:15. So you get a chota break in between. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. So again, quick recap. We move to uh, large spans, right? When we are talking about steel. Okay. I just want to show. Oh, sorry. I stopped sharing the screen by mistake. Just a sec, huh? आ गया वापस?
Yeah, we are back.
Okay. Yeah, so like I said, we moved to large spans because we found this substitute material for construction, right? So because of the structural properties of steel that enabled us to have larger buildings. And that's what created, like I mentioned, this foundation of this whole new typology, which was the skyscraper, right? And this now meant that on the facade, when you use steel, you have larger spans, which means you have larger openings or larger windows, which you have seen yesterday in all those examples that Rohan showed you, correct? So, like I said, this now became a replacement and a substitute material. Then we're talking about smaller sections. Now, the sizes of the sections have reduced compared to the timber posts, compared to the thick masonry walls that we have been talking about, right, all this while. So, just tell me if the slide moves or no. Can you see the next slide?
Yeah. Yeah.
What slide is it? Okay. I am not able to see it for some reason. Okay, just tell me if the slide is moving or no.
Yeah, we are looking at, I think, Richard Neutra.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So now, yes, so we've started moving to smaller sections. The sizes of the members have vastly reduced, correct? And even today, when we talk about steel and glass, the first thing that comes to your mind is this kind of lightweight structure, something which has a like floating kind of a quality, right? That's what comes to our mind. Yeah. Now tell me again if my slide is moving.
Yeah.
Acha, I can see my slide is moving. Yeah. Okay. Uh, right. So now also then we move into prefabrication, right? Prefabrication is about, I mean, it's mentioned as anything goes. मतलब मैं कुछ भी लेके एक साथ में connect कर सकती हूँ और मैं वो खड़ा कर सकती हूँ, right? So that is what prefabrication became about. So of course, mainly with the use of steel, not any other material, but mainly with the use of steel. So this distinction again between the structural members, the infill and cladding also started blurring, right? You could think about it as like we saw in that mill building last time. The outside facade was still load bearing. You still had thick masonry walls, and inside you had these cast iron columns, correct? And now when you move forward, this kind of distinction between an infill material in masonry, which got converted to maybe glass or something else, that distinction started diminishing between a cladding and an infill material. Okay. Yeah. Then you come to these other ways of say. I mean, really now this is a complete transformation from a standard masonry structure, steel elements put together. So we've moved to then what could be termed as ornamentation, right?
Yeah, Mamta, your slide is still on the Guggenheim and that one.
So I'm on that rhombus wala building.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and the frame for Guggenheim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like we saw at the railway building last time, that cast iron column still sort of replicated, those classical orders, right? So there was that aspect of ornamentation, but the meaning of ornamentation has taken a complete new dimension when we talk about this Guggenheim building, correct? So here we are looking at ornamentation or decoration in the form of rivets and those kind of connections, right? So again, the steelwork and ornamentation seem to have come together somewhere. Then we have this rhombus kind of building form where the structural members are now placed diagonally. Okay, if you see, so that form of the building is completely changed. And these examples, if you want, you can take them down. That's Herzog and de Meuron's Prada Epicenter store. Okay, and this one is Foster and Partners ka Swiss Re Tower in London. Okay, so these are the kind of different kind of manifestations you see in the structure that keeps taking place. Okay, now we can come down to one example before we get into the actual elements. Now this is the Crown Hall, Chicago, which was, I think, a renovated building. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shirish. So the original is this. It's a similar proportion that is followed to what was done earlier, right? In that load-bearing structure you see to the right. So they've not broken away from the proportion from that kind of let's say from that form. Okay, what has changed is the material over here and how they have dealt with this new material. It's opened up the plan completely has got opened up, right? You have all the members at the edge. If you can see, all those are the stanchions at the edge. We'll see in the slides. Can you see this? This is the structure now. And how intelligently the structure is made to feel that it is suspended from those. Can you see those large beams on top? Okay, it's fantastic. This kind of assembly that has been used here is just amazing. Look at those large beams. There are only two of them as far as I can see. And then you have the girders and other assembly that come below that. So it's an uptown beam as what we call it in RCC, which is taking care of the entire structure below. Again, it has opened up everything. You have these series of columns. You can see here very clearly, you can see the structure. You can see these tensions, you can see that I-beam on top, and see how these members now come together to put these series of these bays that get suspended from that large beam on top. Can you see the bottom right image? Yeah, can you see that empty skeletal frame? That's the frame, that's it. That is dealing with the entire load of the structure. And you can see on the top right how these members have sort of been placed on site with the help of these cranes. So what happens with steel construction is the ease of assembling these members together. The plates can be welded, the plates can be bolted, they can be done somewhere else, brought to site, assembled over here. So there's that kind of ease and speed of construction. There is no mess where mortar and that, you know, all that is concerned. That's the way the whole thing eases up, right? And here we will see now how we did in timber. If you remember in the first year, we did single floor, double floor, and triple floor. Similarly, in steel, you can make use of these systems, which will talk about a single floor in the sense you will have beams running in one direction, then you will have beams and girders, and you will have a triple kind of system where you have a hierarchy of these members. So we'll see that a little later. But the only difference then becomes the span. The span, the size of the members, how those members come together. Okay, so let's begin today's lecture with this. That was just an introduction. Let's begin it with things now where you'll have to probably write some stuff down with the properties of steel. It is the property of steel that allows you to create these members and allows you to build these kind of structures. Okay, so what is steel? Can someone tell me what exactly is steel? Anyone? You want to Google it? You can
Its
Google
properties.
it. Sorry?
In terms of its properties.
No, in terms of what the material is. What is steel?
It's an alloy of iron mixed with carbon and a few other things like nickel, or is that just stainless steel? Magnesium.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. So basically, it's an alloy. That means it's sort of a number of elements coming together. Correct? That and which is why then the components or the ratio or the proportions of these elements make a huge difference. The minute the proportion of carbon increases, the material will get a little brittle. Correct? So let's look at these mechanical properties of steel. Okay. Now, we are going to divide it into a structure insensitive part of steel and a structure sensitive part of steel. So if you speak to any metallurgist, this is what they're going to tell you. So what are the structure insensitive properties of steel? They're associated with the properties of the atoms, okay? And the primary forces between the atoms. Those are the that's the structure insensitive part of it, okay? But the principal properties here will be like the kind of elastic moduli of this material. What is the yield strength of the material? What is the tensile strength? What is the ductility? That comes under the structure sensitive part of it. And that depends mainly on the way that you make those members. So it can be cold rolled or hot rolled. Okay, we'll come to that also a little later. You know what is hot rolled and cold rolled, right? This is all going to be, these different elements will be heated up to a very high temperature where they melt and they fuse together. And then you roll them out in the form of sheets and later on cut them into these different shapes, right? So that is hot rolled. And some are cold rolled where you just use the cold material which you cut into different members, okay? So what do I mean when I say tensile properties of steel? Okay. it is about how that material behaves under certain forces, right? So the first one is an elastic moduli. In this case, when we look at steel, we're talking about how steel behaves when it is subject to stress and strain. Correct? You know what is stress and strain by now? Do you know what is stress and strain by now? Stress is the force that is being applied to on that material, and strain is how it behaves under that force. Okay, so that's what That's what we talk about when we talk about elastic moduli. So how does this material behave under a certain amount of stress? Right? Does it deform after a certain point? What happens to it when that force increases? Right? It then starts deforming. Correct? Now, yield strength is when that deformation or when that snapping takes place. Correct? At one point, that material is going to fail, and that is what we call as the yield strength. So ये अगर से 10 के बाद 10.1 भी मैं डालती हूँ force, that material starts changing its shape, the properties start changing, which is why we call it as yield. It yields to that force that is being applied to it. So that's the yield strength that we talk about. Correct? So when that kind of stress falls away, right? So when this kind of deformation takes place, there's a reduction in the diameter. There is, I mean, that kind of say deformation starts happening. You'll start observing. Like yesterday, I think Rohan showed you the twin towers and how those aircrafts crashed into the twin towers and how they caught fire, and then steel was subjected to very high temperatures, which is why that main core of that whole building of those towers, which were made in steel, the whole core, that is the elevator and the staircase core, okay, that got subjected to this heat, and that's how it melted and then it gave way. Correct? So that is what we mean when we say yield strength, and when we mean tensile strength, उसका जो tension लेने का capacity है वो कम हो जाता है. So that's what we term, or we identify a material with its tensile strength. So what is the tensile strength of steel? Okay, definitely much more than concrete. We know that for sure. We're not getting into numbers. This is not a structures class. This is just about understanding the material. Okay. Now, what is ductility? Right? Anyone? What is ductility of a material?
The ability to draw it into wires.
Correct. So you're able to draw this material into wires. We know very well that we use steel, that is in the form of mild steel, for our reinforcement. Correct. So that's exactly where this property of steel comes in, because we're drawing it into these kind of cables to use it for reinforcement. Again, coming under the tensile properties. That's used to increase the tensile property of concrete. Because as we know, concrete is good in compression, but it is weak in tension. And this is exactly where steel comes into play. So that's what we call as ductility. We are able to draw it out into wires. And it's also malleable, because we've spoken about how we draw steel in the form of sheets, correct? Cold rolled or hot rolled sheets, and which are hammered, and then after it cooled, you get the different members. Okay. Then comes fracture toughness. This, as the name suggests, is exactly the point where after being subjected to force, the material is going to crack, it's going to split, it's going to fracture. So it has this kind of property which is called as fracture toughness, which is high, of course, in steel, because it takes a great deal amount of that force to be able to fracture this material. Okay, so that's the fracture toughness. Then the last thing is fatigue. Okay, anyone knows what fatigue is? Have you done this in structures earlier?
Is it the time it takes for it to kind of start wearing out?
Correct. It starts sort of actually doing the opposite of what it's supposed to do. right? So that fatigue will occur as a result of this member or the component, which is subject to the reverse kind of stress. So when we, let's say, we design very slender columns, right? And then they get subject to a whole lot of this load. And then you see that the column starts behaving in that opposite fashion. It starts bending and buckling or whatever it is, right? So then that is when we say that now the material has reached fatigue. So it's not brittle, it's not cracking, but then it's deforming. Okay. So again, but with both of it, with both fracture as well as fatigue, it starts beginning where that stress level that the element can take starts increasing beyond its point. Okay, both fracture and fatigue come out of that excess of stress. Okay, so this is showing you how you get a hot worked kind of steel or heat treated. Okay, so now in this you have to understand that when this kind of this alloy that comes out at such a high temperature from this machine has to be cooled suddenly. Okay, it's not allowed to cool in a kind of natural way, but it has to be cooled very rapidly. Okay, and that is what gives the material its strength. Okay, now what are the different sections that come? You can sketch this out, please. What are the different members that we make from steel? As you can see on top, these are I-beams. These are wide flange beams. They're used for heavy loads. You have a standard section, which you can see below that. You need not go by American standards or whatever that's mentioned here. You can look up the steel table that we use, that our National Building Code sort of recommends. Okay. But when we talk about wider flange beams, they are subject to heavier loads, which is why you want to use wider flange. Otherwise, you have a standard section which you use for standard kind of construction, where the cost is then in control. To create those wide flange beams, your cost is going to increase. Then you can see C sections, you can see hollow sections, which are both square as well as circular, and you also have solid sections. Okay, so I think you should go ahead and sketch this out. So as Shravan told us about the different kind of elements in this alloy, when you're doing heat treatable steel, you have to ensure that there are some of these additional kind of elements, that is manganese, chromium, nickel. Okay, these are additional because you're subjecting it to that kind of heat. Okay. So they are not actually contaminating it, but they help because it has to be heat treated. You need not get into too many of those details, okay? That's just for your knowledge.
Mamta?
Yeah.
So when I hear iron being used in architecture, it's always as cast iron. But has iron
Yes.
ever been worked like steel is worked, where it's actually like forged instead of being cast? Because usually cast iron, at least from what I know about weaponry, isn't as good at taking a hit or kind of durability in terms of forged iron as compared
Yes,
to cast.
cast iron is very good in compression, which is why we saw, right, in those mill build last time's examples. How did we move from load bearing to framed? With the use of cast iron that was readily available. It wasn't very expensive, and it was very good in compression. It is still very good in compression compared to steel also, but the cost factor has increased, which is why you moved from cast iron to steel. Now wrought iron, when did we use wrought iron? We started using wrought iron as the horizontal members. Please remember, Wrought iron started being used as the beams. Can I move my slides to show you that? It's in the same presentation.
Yeah, Mamta, please.
Yeah, so that you will remember. 1 minute. Let me go back to that decorative column. Ye wala. Can you see this? So ये boat show में क्या होने लगा? The columns were cast iron, but the beams were wrought iron. Okay, and if you see in this bridge, right, Metro Line Bridge, Paris, niche, that's a cast iron capital, and again you have wrought iron beams, right? So you started moving to this material. Cast iron is also brittle. Okay, guys, please understand. Cast iron is also brittle, which is why then for beams, wrought iron becomes a better material to use. And then we started moving to steel. Now when I say steel, it's not stainless steel, it is mild steel. There is also cast steel. Similar to cast iron, we also have cast steel, but again mild steel sort of exhibits better properties, right? And you eliminate that factor of casting the material and all the issues that come with that, the complexities which come with it, which is why you end up using ready members, ready sections, as we have seen. These are wrought iron beams. No, these are cast iron beams.
Wait, so cast iron
Right?
works well for beams?
Cast iron works well, but like I said, it's brittle. So finally, when you need
Exactly.
larger sections, then you move to wrought iron. Okay?
Right, right. That clears it up. Thank you.
Yeah. आगे वापस आ गए ना? Yeah, are you done with this? These are the basic members which you already know about. If you walk around, if you're allowed to get
I've
out of
got
your
that.
house and walk around,
Yes. Oh, Lily, Anna.
क्या हो गया? You
Other
can
than-
move to. I didn't hear. Did someone say something?
Sorry, Mamta, that was at my end.
Acha, I thought someone was asking me a question. So you can go to a railway station close to you and observe the different members, how they have been fixed. Is going to be a whole lot complicated than what we will see today. But you can still sketch it out for your interest, bring it to class, and we can discuss. Okay? Should I break and show that video, Shirish, जो YouTube का है मेरे पास?
Yeah, sure. Mamta.
So
you
that
should
they
say.
understand
Yeah.
that hot roll thing. So now based on again how the material cools, it achieves different kind of strengths. So based on the members that you want to cut out of it, you're going to decide on how you want to sort of cool that. Okay. I'll have to stop sharing and share again, right? Sound. Switch to speaker. अरे यार. You'll have to wait while I change my speakers and stuff over here. Okay. Now tell me if you can see my screen. YouTube दिख रहा है?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now watch.
Mamta, is there sound on this?
Yeah, Shirish?
Is there sound on this video?
Yeah.
Okay, we can't hear the sound, but it's
You
okay.
can't hear the sound. Okay,
You can
wait.
also, Mamta, also put the link here.
I think I'll do that.
Yeah, so we can watch it in our browser.
Yeah, I put it up on chat so you guys can watch it. I don't know why this sound business is not working. Oh. It's asking me to choose speaker headphone. It's already on speaker headphone. Just hold on a minute.
Mamta, we'll watch it through our browser. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fast.
Each gives a student an overview of the processes within a hot rolling mill. The film is made in collaboration with SSAB in Borlänge. Here, the steel material is processed plastically at very high temperatures. Rotating rolls reduce the thickness of the material and produce long strips that can be used for manufacturing products such as steel plates. We will be going through the various stages of the hot rolling process. Each stage requires knowledge and experience to ensure a high-quality product. The material is heated in the reheating furnace, rolled in the roughing mill, coil boxed, roll in a finishing mill, cooled and coiled. Before the slab can be processed, it must be heated. The slab is continuously cast and has the dimensions required for the final product of a correct weight, width, and thickness. These furnaces heat the material to about 1200 degrees centigrade. 2 walking beam furnaces feed the material through the oven. The heating is especially important as it affects the properties of the material. If the material is not sufficiently heated, incorrect material properties will arise. This is due to carbides and nitrates failing to dissolve. During the heating process and the transport to the roughing mill, the hot material reacts to the oxygen in the air, and a mill scale consisting of oxide is formed on the surface. If the oxide layer remains on the material during rolling, the layer risks being rolled into the steel material, adversely affecting the surface quality of the final product. The material must undergo a mill-scale cleansing before rolling. In order to cleanse the surface, water is sprayed at high pressure, 160 bar. After the material has undergone a surface cleansing, it's sent to the roughing mill. Here, the material is rolled from its original thickness of 22 centimeters down to about 3 centimeters. This is a very significant reduction. At this roughing mill, a powerful 4-high rolling mill is used. That is, 2 backup rolls and 2 smaller working rolls. The backup rolls are often cast steel rolls. The working rolls must have very smooth surfaces and tolerate high temperatures and wear, as they are in direct contact with the material. This particular material is rolled with 5 passes, where 1 pass means that the material passes through the rolls once. The material is surface cleansed several times during the roughing mill process to remove any new traces of mill scale. In order to control the width of the material, vertical rolls are used. The material is now called transfer bars. After the roughing mill, the transfer bar is rolled up in a coil box. The coil box's primary purpose is to save space, but when inside the coil box, a temperature equalization also occurs. The temperature difference between the ends of the material is minimized as the transfer bar is coiled together. When the transfer bar is removed from the coil box, it has a temperature of about 1050 degrees centigrade. The ends of the transfer bar are cut off and the bar undergoes further mill scale removal. After this, it's time for the next stage, the finishing mill. This mill consists of 6 stands in the shape of 4 high rolling mills. Here, the transfer bars, now called strips, are rolled into a thickness of between 16 and 1.8 millimeters. Between the rolls, we see an uplooper, which measures and controls, amongst other things, the line speed and the strip tension. The swinging motion that can be observed is when the uplooper is adjusting itself. In order to control the profile and the flatness of the strips, the working rolls are horizontally adjustable. The first stands control the profile, and in the later stands, the flatness is controlled. It's very important to have a correct strip profile and flatness before any post-processing starts. The cooling rate is adapted to each strip to produce the appropriate microstructure and material properties of the end product. When the strip is passed through the cooling section, it's coiled in. The temperature during coiling varies between 150 and 750 degrees centigrade, depending on the properties assigned to the material. After coiling and the subsequent cooling, the strip can be sold directly to the customer or undergo additional processing stages, for instance, cold rolling.
Yeah, did you all get that?
Yeah, Mamta.
Okay, I'll have to go back to the presentation.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mamta.
Okay. Yeah. So then a quick, I can hear myself echo over here. Anyway, quick look at fire protection for all these members. You know that we've already seen, or I've already mentioned that steel subject to fire or high temperatures would mean damaging the member, right? So, which means that the steel that we're using for construction needs to be protected from fire. Now, there are these terms that we use, F60 and things like that, which would mean that it can withstand a fire for a time of 60 minutes, which is why it's called as F60. So when you sort of create or make these members, it comes with these kind of fire resistant categories, and you know then which member you can pick up and use for different kinds of construction. So if you're looking at a single story building, if you're looking at a multi-story, then how many floors are we looking at? Correct? All those need to be taken care of. Now the active measures are always present, right? All the way to firefight and protect your building from fire. You have a fire system in place in your building. You've probably done fire drills to know how to evacuate people from the place. But this is a passive fire protection measure where you'll have to actually clad the elements in concrete. So there is, you could paint and plaster it for anti-corrosive measures as well as for fire protection. But the usual way to go about it is to clad it in concrete, or you embed it in concrete so that the member is protected from fire. Okay. Uh, Of course, then once we're talking about concrete, you'll see that load bearing capacity of the member increases, okay, because you're using the material of concrete, okay. Maybe the slides are changing. Right. So let's look at these members now. Steel exposed, the columns that are exposed, you have it's a fire resistance class of R30, which means it can resist the fire for 30 minutes. There is a different class which is R60, and R90 they're saying is not available. Then they look at beams, which are this support the floor slabs, their wide flange, their normal flange, whatever it is, and again the different categories. Okay, so the composite columns, which are columns that are embedded in concrete, different sort of members again, that's I-beam and hollow sections, but the sections are now filled with concrete. Okay. Then again you have the metal sheets, or what we will call as castellated beams later, which are could be uh, composite in the sense they could be a built up section, or it could be cut from a single sheet. Okay. And clad section where these are hollow again, right? It's only encircled with concrete. It's not completely filled with it, or it could be another material. And again, there is paint that we were speaking about, or a protective coat. That's the last one. Okay. Did you get this? Do you want to write this down quickly before we get into connections?
Mamta,
Yeah.
we'll share this PPT with everyone, right? So then
Okay.
they can also go through it.
Right.
But they have to conceptually understand what these things are and why they are needed. I mean that's more important right now when they are seeing seeing your presentation.
Right.
So they need to get in their head why some of the things are essential. For example, why do you clad the steel? How does it actually benefit, and things like that. The details
Right.
they can look at the presentation and derive the details from there also. Yeah. Thanks.
Right. So then understand these three categories. One is this exposed category where the member is completely exposed, but it still has a resistance of a specific time that's given. Then you have composite where they are encased in concrete, or there's a concrete infill, and then you have clad section. So that these three different categories which you need to understand. Okay. Yeah. Then we come to joining. Now, like I said, steel is all about how they are connected together. Huh? So I'm just going, no, I can't share as well as show myself. Now, if there are two types of connections which are primary to steel connections, and one is a shear connection and one is a moment connection. Anybody knows what is a shear connection? Can someone tell me what's the difference between a shear connection and a moment connection?
A shear connection prevents something from coming apart in a perpendicular direction, while moment connections prevent it from turning around or allow it to turn around.
I don't know if that is the right way to put it. Shear is where it's on the same plane and there is movement in opposite directions along that plane. Okay. So if I am holding, let's say, a ruler with my fingers placed, wait, let me put my camera on and show you 1 sec. Okay, can you guys see me? If I'm holding this here like this.
We can't see you, Mamta.
1 minute, 1 minute. Now can you see me? Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you see this? I'm holding this member over here, right? Which means this can move along this. Correct? That's a shear connection. But if I hold this member or connect this member in this fashion, this point is not going to move. If at all anything has to happen, or if this member has to deform, this will still remain flat, and then you will see the member bending like this. Okay, it will turn like this. That's a moment connection. So with steel, they're basically just these two connections that we need to talk about, is different ways of doing the shear connection and different ways of creating this moment connection. At least for second year level, this is good enough for us. Okay, so the different ways of doing it, let's take a look. Maybe I should have got a video for that. We'll check if there's a video for shear connection and moment connection. Okay, again, tell me if you can see the screen and if you can see rivets.
Yeah.
Can you see this? Okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, riveting has now been done away with. We don't use it very often these days. But yes, essentially earlier we had rivets, which was basically this kind of steel. Let me use a pointer. Right? It's a steel fastener that is coming here. Again, this is hot. Okay, this has to be done at white heat. And this member is now inserted here while it is hot, and it is then hammered from here. Okay, if you read this later on, you'll see that this is hammered, and because it's hot, it then takes on this shape. Correct? And then it is cooled. After this is cooled, this sort of fixes itself in place. So this is what is riveting. It's one way of fixing two steel members together. Okay. Have you understood this? You can sketch this out later, like Shirish says, we'll share the presentation. So you can do that. Then comes what you see very commonly all over the place is bolting. Okay. So these are members, these are used. These kind of hinges, bolts, this is a hardware which is used to be inserted through the members. Then there's a washer and this kind of connector which you turn around and this gets bolted. Now this cannot be bolted by hand because you're talking about heavy steel members here and thick sections. So this definitely needs the use of a mechanical device which is then used to fix this part of the bolt. Okay, this is turned in tightly, correct? Here they've mentioned that it's carbon steel bolts which are used to tighten this. Now please understand, calculations have to be done on the basis of this. When I'm calculating the connection, the size of the member, I'm calculating the number of bolts. This all contributes to the strength of the material. So based on the kind of strength I need, based on the connection that I am making, the engineers calculate the number of bolts to be used, what is the diameter of that bolt, and what is this connection going to achieve. Okay, please remember that's an engineer's job. You might do a bit of it in TOS, but otherwise it's an engineer's job, and this has to be calculated. It undergoes, so even that's the basis of which you'll see that a specific number of bolts have been used for a specific plate at the station or whatever it is. It's not random. It's not random, or it's not कि अच्छा दिखता है तो मैं 6 नहीं मैं 8 डालूंगा. Okay, ऐसा नहीं है. It has to be calculated. Welding, you all know, very commonly carried out activity, again under heat, where actually this material melts, okay, which allows two members to fuse together, correct? Again, welding undergoes calculation. You have to calculate to find out कितना मटेरियल वो जा रहा है, कितना मेल्ट करने का है, और कितने जगह पे तुम वेल्ड कर सकते हो या नहीं वेल्ड कर सकते हो. Okay, so the difference between bolting and welding is that welding will create a sort of monolithic structure. सब साथ में आ जाएगा, while bolt is you're actually intervening into the member. Okay, that's the difference. So please remember, we have 3 types of connections, which is riveting, bolting, and welding. Now the types of joints, this has nothing to do with steel. These are in general. When you mention a type of joint, what does that mean? Okay, so what does a butt joint mean, right? In the butt joint, you have the force which is transferred from one member to the other member. यहाँ से force ऐसा जाएगा, ये member को transfer हो जाएगा. यहाँ से load आएगा, ये member को transfer हो जाएगा. So that is what is called as a butt joint. Okay, this whole system will work as if it is a single system. Okay, so structural elements, butt joints will allow, if you read this, butt joints allow for one of the elements to be continuous, and it uses a third mediating element. That means there is something here which is going to connect this to this. You very well know that in timber we have butt joints where we're actually cutting into this member and it can overlap it, or you might have a glue that you use or whatever it is. Okay, so that is what is a butt joint is about, right? Overlapping joints, where actually the members overlap each other, they crisscross kind of each other, or they bypass each other. The word that they have used is bypass. Okay, so that's an interlocking or an overlapping joint, right? Here this member is resting on this, which they've called as molded or shaped joints. This one actually makes use of a capital-like thing to take on this member. Okay, it's receiving this member, so to speak. Then you have a connector joint where you've actually inserted some member here, a dowel or a bolt or whatever it is, to bring these two members together. Okay, then you have this linear weld. It's a weld where, like we saw earlier, that material is subject to high temperatures where it melts and it fuses. Okay, this is just a surface connector where only a glue is used. Maybe it could be temporary, or maybe it could be for very light kind of members. Okay, now we shall take this understanding ahead, okay, later on to the steel members. These are pin joints. Like I mentioned, the dowel, there is a pin which you can use. You can insert and actually connect the members together. So what do pin joints do? They allow for rotation around that member. हाँ, तो rotation सिर्फ इधर होने वाला है. Only around this. कोई direction में change नहीं होगा. So if it is subject to say differences in temperature day and night, there is a slight kind of rotation that this member will allow. But if I weld it like this is the moment connection that we were talking about earlier. This is completely packed, right? This is not going to allow for any kind of rotation. So that becomes a rigid or a moment connection. Rigid or fixed joints maintain the angular relationship between the joint elements. They restrain rotation and translation in any direction and provide both force and moment resistance, which is why this becomes a moment connection. So now if you see then, when we come to steel, you'll see the difference between that shear as well as moment connection. Now this is a roller joint. This will allow for movement in the lateral direction, okay? But here they say that these are not employed in building construction, okay? Because pinned and fixed connections are more useful for us. We really don't want our structures to start moving around, right? But we might have use for this roller kind of joint in more complicated or complex structures, which you will learn in the higher classes, okay? So now we come back to our basic framing system. We have done this in the first year with the timber members, right? We've spoken about timber posts, we've spoken about timber girders, we've spoken about timber binders, timber joists. Similarly, you have structural steel elements that also come together. So there are columns or stanchions as we call it. We have these girders and we have binders, and we probably in the triple system you'll see that you also have steel joists, okay? Now let us look at these connections which they mentioned here. This A, B, C, D, ये क्या है? ये हम कैसे बना सकते हैं? Okay, let's take a look at that. Can you see this? Can you tell me which connection is this? Is this a shear connection or is this a moment connection? Quick.
Moment.
ये मोमेंट कनेक्शन है या स्टीयर कनेक्शन है? शेयर कनेक्शन है. कहाँ पे मेरे फिंगर्स कहाँ पे थे on that remote?
On the sides of it.
On the side. So this is what connection?
Shear.
Shear connection. Correct. Absolutely. Okay. Now in this case it has been bolted, right? As you can see, there are a number of bolts. Like I said, this undergoes calculation. There are steel angles that are used here to bring this beam. That's an I member. It's a regular one. It's not a wide flange one. It's a regular one which is connected to the steel stanchion, which is also an I section. Okay. So that's put together. This is what it looks like when it's bolted. Again, like I said, हाथ से नहीं bolt कर सकते. हमको mechanical device चाहिए to be able to bolt this together. So all this comes, load bearing जो calculation होता है, all this comes into that calculation. This will determine what is the bearing capacity of this assembly. Okay, please understand that. This is what it looks like from the side. In this case, what have they done? Have they done anything in this case? नहीं, ये सिर्फ picture है, okay? This is just a 3D view, and this is the way that is going to look like once the job is done, okay?
So such a connection won't hold up.
Sorry?
Such a connection won't hold up to a cantilever stress, right? Like you need the beam to be supported on another end for just this connection to work, right?
Correct. So we'll come to that. Okay, you're very right. This may take a cantilever of like a minimum kind of span, not a very large span, but that's exactly why you start moving from a shear connection to the moment connection to a seated connection. The one that you're talking about is you will get something here which you will rest this member on. Okay, so then that's exactly what you will use to determine which kind of connection you need for what kind of structure you need finally. Correct? So now this clearly says this is a shear connection. It's not a moment connection because they're not rigidly connected. You have this gap here. Okay, you have this gap here that is allowing for, like he's saying, slight inaccuracy. So when you do a simple structure which is not really very complicated, doesn't have to take large, you can go ahead and do this kind of connection. Okay.
Sorry, Mamta. Sorry, Mamta? Can I be excused? There's a first year meeting for the course.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'll catch up with you later.
Catch up so later on you can give your comments. Yeah.
I've put a couple of videos. The first video is on the on how to identify shear and moment connections. Yeah. And the second one is a 3-part kind of a small clip video on the skyscrapers of New York, and they actually show because Shravan asked how do you do hot rivet up all the way there. They actually show how rivets were created in those times. Sorry, I'll just excuse myself. Thanks.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Now we come to welding this, right? We've bolted this part. We've used angles. ये हमारा I beam है. ये वाला भी I member है. I section है. इसको steel angle use करके हमने bolt कर दिया है. लेकिन you saw in the previous slide that these gaps are open, right? These gaps are open. They're not filled. And to make it a moment connection, to make it rigid, we are going to have to weld this. Can you see? So this gap is now filled over here. Okay, ये gap fill कर दिया है, उसको weld कर दिया है. That has made it now a rigid connection. This they are saying in case there is an earthquake, this beam is going to deform permanently because इतना rigid हम लोग ने बना दिया है, कोई scope रखा नहीं है for movement, that this thing is going to deform. So frankly speaking, when I meant moment connection, because this is rigid, this member is not going to deform from here. This member is going to start deforming from here. So if it is subject to very large loads, you will find a curve happening over here like this. Okay, can you see my pointer? Can you see my pointer? So this goes straight for some portion and then it will start sagging at this point. This is called as a moment connection. The minute you understand moment connections, shear connections, you are through with steel. You don't have to bother about anything. This is what we were discussing. In case of a cantilever or a large cantilever, we need extra support, which is why we use a seated beam to column connection. Now, please understand the terminology. You know this, we did it in the first year. This is the flange, this is a web, correct? Which means I'm connecting this thing to the web of this I section. ये वाला I section का ये web है, correct? तो ये beam जाके ये web को fit हो रहा है. कैसे हम ये web को fit कर रहे हैं? Is the different ways of doing it, like we saw. We used bolts, we used welding. In this case, we're using another angle. This is again an angle. Try to identify the members here. This is a steel angle. और ये हम ऊपर भी bolt कर रहे हैं और ये side पे भी bolt कर रहे हैं. Okay? So we are bolting it in these two directions. Okay? There is a possibility that this space is very tight. कम जगह मिल रहा है इधर हमको काम करने के लिए. इसके लिए we have used this. But we are also looking at using this as a form of a bracket. Remember we did brackets in the first year. So this is kind of a bracketed connection. Okay, this also stabilizes this. But this is again a shear connection because we are not completely packing it up. This again is termed, or this comes under the category of shear connections and not moment connections. Okay, यहाँ पे पूरा weld कर दिया है ऐसे. Okay, so they've actually added on this much over here, added on this much over here. Okay, and they're talking about location B पे हम this kind of rigid connection use कर सकते हैं. So if you go back to that slide, where is B? Sorry, where is B? यहाँ पे. So end connection or end situation में, that is the connection that has been adopted. Okay, that's an end connection. Okay, sorry, this one. ठीक है, यहाँ पे ऐसे use किया. ये last वाला member है at the edge of the structure. Okay, still we have plates. We have not done away with the plates. Plate लिया है, angle नहीं use किया है, plate को bolt कर दिया. Okay, और ये वाले portion में वेल्ड कर दिया है. दिस इज एक्सटेंडिंग नाउ, हाँ, फ्रॉम दिस आई सेक्शन, दिस एक्स्ट्रा. ओके,
Hello.
क्या हो गया?
Can
टाइम हो
you
गया?
show the previous slide? No, I have a question.
दिस स्लाइड.
No, the previous one. Yeah, this one. So here the beam is going through and through the column. So what if I want to connect another beam? In that case, this beam won't go through and through, no?
नहीं, फिर अभी again there are different ways of doing it. Suppose I have another beam which is coming here. Okay, so I can do it similar to this or do it like this. किधर गया पहले वाला? ऐसे. Actually ये web में जा रहा है, so I can do it like this. What is happening is this is going to the web while this is going to the flange. Can you see this?
Yeah.
This is connecting. When you make your sketches, please mark out the web and flange. बाद में confusion नहीं चाहिए. Okay? ये flange है, ये web है. Correct? कहाँ गया हमारा initial I section? हाँ, ये देखो इधर है, इधर दिखाई दे रहा है. Yo, this is it. अरे हाँ, get it? So one beam is coming here, correct? While the other beam in plan is coming here. It's going to fix onto this face, which is why there is that difference. Now, based on the size of the flange which is coming here, you have space enough to bolt angles or no, correct? ये अलग direction में, what I'm talking about is a different direction. Is there somewhere I can draw onto this pen? Okay, right. Suppose plan में मेरा इधर और इधर आ रहा है. Sorry for the bad drawing. You understood? So this is the flange of the member in plan. Have you all understood? ये वाला फ्लैंज प्लान में इधर आके रेस्ट हो रहा है. अभी उसका वेब जो है थिकनेस ये डॉटेड में आना चाहिए. आई एम शोइंग इन फुल लाइंस. इधर आ गया, करेक्ट. अभी मैं यहाँ पे एंगल लगा के बोल्ट कर सकती हूँ. इफ आई हैव इनफ प्लेस, राइट, माय बोल्ट्स विल कम लाइक दिस नाउ, राइट. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड और एम आई कंफ्यूजिंग यू सम मोर?
No, got it.
हाँ, ठीक है, ऐसे, right? But we are also talking about some member getting connected to this face. So यहाँ पे ये flange इधर से आ रहा है, correct? उसका वेब इधर है बीच में. So now I have options again. मैं एंगल लगा के बोल्ट कर सकती हूँ, मैं यहाँ पे वेल्ड कर सकती हूँ, मैं वो नीचे सीट लगा सकती हूँ, इधर नीचे सीट लगा सकती हूँ, करेक्ट? Did you understand, all of you?
So putting it in the flange has the same principle as creating a hole in the column and inserting the beam into that, right? Instead of the timber.
So suppose इधर आ गया, right? Now this is also coming here. Again I have to put a plate and bolt. पूरा mess हो रहा है, correct? Someone's mic is on and there's a lot of noise. So do I do this? It's my choice, correct? I'm going to clash. This thing is going to clash, na? This junction में क्या करूँ, right? So I have to understand that and then design these connections accordingly. Which means यहाँ पे भी आ गया अगर member 3D में, तो मैं क्या करूँगी? सोचना पड़ेगा ना, correct? Did you understand? So this is your choice how you want to do it. Let us see आगे कुछ example. Right? So in this case now, if another I section comes in this direction, what am I going to do? Right? That's a call that I'll have to take as an architect as well as a designer. Sorry, I'm not able to draw properly. Okay? Did you all understand? So there's a connection to the flange as well as there's a connection to the web, right? Yeah, this is that extra piece that we've added on. This is a simple plate kind of connection. इसमें ये सस्ता हो गया, okay? बहुत बड़ा building नहीं है मेरा, छोटा building है, not very complicated. Instead of using an angle, I can use just this plate. This is good enough. This is serving my purpose. So it's a light connection, okay? किसका mic on है? Mute yourselves, guys. Now, instead of bolting, you can just weld these plates also. Correct? It's welded on this side and welded on this side. Okay? So welding से काम हो गया. Okay? But you're not welding here again, huh? You're only welding this angle to this and to this surface. Okay? Another way of doing things. Now please understand that there are reasons why we are doing all this. Correct? Why am I doing this? What is it saying here? The angles are not welded to the column along the top and bottom edges. They are only welded on the sides. So this permits the angles to flex slightly. मतलब थोड़ा movement होने के लिए मैं जगह रख रही हूँ. I'm allowing for that. We're allowing the beam to rotate away from the column as it bends. Okay. Next, you're welding it in this fashion. So you have a plate on top, you have a plate on the side, and then you're welding this plus you're bolting it. यहाँ पे bolt भी use कर रही हूँ. Less number of bolts as you can see. Why? Because I'm using a weld along with the bolt. Okay. So this is partially restrained or a semi-rigid kind of a connection. ठीक है. Neither shear nor moment, but a semi-rigid. Okay. बहुत सारे bolts और सब कुछ पैक कर दिया तो वो rigid connection बन जाएगा. Okay. Did you get it? Here we have beams coming from two different directions. In this case now, I want the level of this to be the same. Maybe मुझे flooring material इसके ऊपर डालना है. So I want this to meet this at the same level. I don't want this beam to sit inside. Okay. If I use a pen, I can show you again. I don't want the beam to come inside here. Okay. It has to be at the same level. These two levels have to match. Okay, so I'm doing away with this. In this case, I have to give a cut over here, right? So that means this top flange को थोड़ा मुझे काटना पड़ रहा है so that it fits properly. Again, this is a shear connection because there's no welding that has happened and not fixed it completely. Okay, so they call it coping. The flanges are cut away or coped. Okay. Are you on, guys? Please tell me if you can understand or you don't understand. Huh? This is the way columns are connected to each other, right? These are columns of the same size as you can see. So that means maybe it is within the floor height that I need to join two members. I have used plates to bolt it together. Correct? So that's a bolted column to column connection. This is the way it looks from the side. This is the way it looks like this over here. And यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? यहाँ पे there's welding. Okay, you can see that the bolts have reduced. Number of bolts have reduced. You have welds that are taking place on these edges. In this case, the column size is reduced. There is a possibility that I've reduced the column size because the flow has changed. So maybe first, second flow के बाद third and fourth flow, I have a lesser column size. So how do I connect this? They've used an angle and bolted. There is a plate over here. Correct? There's a connector plate which I'm going to maybe weld over here or bolt and then fix the next column onto this. Have you understood? Have you understood?
Yes.
I'm not understanding the last one, the last example.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This column size change, na Shravan? एक second.
Achha, that's a plate in the middle.
This is plate, butt plate they've
Achha, that's
called
been
it.
added.
Just
Great.
yeah, this is they call it a butt plate. Okay, so
Yeah,
column
I used
size
that
has
in ideas
changed.
last
And they've used this. Of course, there is some welding that is taking place because you need to weld this together, and some bolting that is taking place. Okay. So like I said, steel is quite simple. It's all about how I connect one member to the other. यहाँ पे फिर मेरा beam आ जाएगा. Okay. यहाँ पे मैं plate use कर सकती हूँ, angle use कर सकती हूँ, या तो weld कर सकती हूँ, या तो bolt कर सकती हूँ. तो मेरा beam भी बन गया. Then I'll put my flooring on top of this. Okay. So steel is pretty simple because it's all about connections. Correct. Now we come to the single floor like we saw in timber. Right. Again, I have my stanchions. In this case, they're not posts, these are stanchions. I have these beams running in one direction, so this becomes a one-way beam system or a single floor kind of a system. Now these diagrams I've taken from this book, Francis Deeching. You can download the PDF and go through it. You will be able to understand all this. Now in this case, my columns are outside, bahar aa rahe hain aise, and beams aise andar inset hai, okay, within these columns. This we've seen the Farnsworth house. It's a two-way system because I have I sections here. I have my main beams running here, which are called as girders, and these secondary beams which are running in this direction, which become the two-way beam, or you could call it a double flow, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Now, how do you make these beams? Different ways of doing this. In this case, they have actually shown कि ये plate है. Okay. ये प्लेट है, ये प्लेट अलग है, ये प्लेट अलग है, फिर उसको एंगल से वेल्ड करके ये काइंड ऑफ बिल्ट अप सेक्शन क्रिएट किया है. ओके, सो डिफरेंट वेज इन विच यू कैन even prepare your own section. So here's a regular I section, here's the wider flange wala, here's a C section, here is a hollow section. Okay, so ये two way है, हाँ. So here again you have primary beams and secondary beams. In this case now, these beams are not touching within the flange of these columns. Can you see that? This is set inside. So mera ye structural member, I want it to be seen for aesthetics or whatever reason it is. Right? I want this to be prominent, and I've pushed the beams inside. As you can see, this is a C section here. And this beam, these beams are now resting on this. This is an I section. While because it's an end connection, this is a C section, and these secondary beams are now resting on that. You also have long spanning members. There is a possibility कि इसका span बहुत बड़ा है, so they've used built up sections or they've used these girders, which is taking this to take on the floor. These members are only reducing the span to be able to take the floor on it. Okay. As you can see, it's a column free space. Okay, so these are built up trusses. Different members again used to build this truss. This is an I-beam here. Then you can have cross kind of plates or angles which run in this direction. It's completely your choice, your freedom. Enjoy. तुम कुछ भी कर सकते हो. Okay, suppose like say for example, yeah, I have ये जो दिखाया इधर, right? That's an I-beam. So I can see the thickness of that I-beam, which goes like this. Which goes like this. What is coming in between? This will end in a single line here. This is the thickness here. This is these are the flanges. This is the web. Okay. Now, instead of using this fat thick beam like we saw in the Crown Hall, what have these guys done? They have converted this into two plates on top. Sorry, two plates on top, and you have these cross members. Now these members that you're using here can be angles. Now agar mera 3D drawing, I don't know. These can be angles. Can you see that? Can you see this? So ये crisscross में जा सकते हैं ये angular members. ठीक है? ये वाला. Did you understand? See, online lecture में कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि you guys understand what I'm saying or don't understand what I'm saying. Okay? So please respond.
Could you please explain this one again?
Can I erase all this? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me try and be a little careful. I'm talking about this member. Okay? This thing. This is you can build it up yourself. You don't have to actually make it, right? How we saw in this slide. इसमें build up किया है ना? ये एक plate use किया है, उसके ऊपर ये plate रख दी है, और ये दोनों plate को angle के साथ connect किया है. Can you see? Can you see? They welded all this together, the different parts, and they've created an I-beam. It's not like it's cut like this. They've created this. Okay. Similarly, when I'm talking about this girder or a truss, I can build this up with a choice of what I want. On top here, it can be a plate. Okay, suppose I do a plate and do this, correct? Can you see? So it can be a plate. हाँ, ये thickness of the plate है और ये थोड़ा मैं angle draw करने का try कर रही हूँ. Okay. Did you understand? ये section में है.
Yeah.
और वो elevation है. Okay. Now I need these cross bracing members because this is a large dimension. ये depth ज़्यादा है. Okay. So I need to brace this together, right? Otherwise it will start sagging. To brace it, I have a choice of using just plates. ये simple plate हो सकता है. Flats, okay? Flats or plates, correct? This is the thickness. So I have another flat coming in this direction. How you connect these flats again is your choice. You can weld it here, you can bolt it here, correct? Also, alternatively, this can be an angle. So if I have a plate, this can also be an angle. This top member can also be an angle. It can be an angle, correct? And I can put this angle over here. This can be an angle. ये इसका thickness है, ये इसका L portion है और यहाँ पे ये bolt होके weld हो सकता है. So let me draw a section. So this is the top angle. In this case, it was only a plate. It was only a plate in this case. And how the bracing came together onto this plate is when I had this member, which I'll see as a single line thickness. I can connect here with an angle or I can weld it, correct? Now this member, I can use an angle. Instead of a flat plate, it's an angle. Did you get the difference between this and this? Firstly, this top member I'm talking about. ये ऊपर वाला. Girder का ऊपर वाला member can either be a plate or it can be an angle. Have you understood this so far? First tell me that. Yeah? अभी ये वाला member को भी choice है. I can either use a flat which is going like this, chapta. Okay? Just one single flat like this. Or again, I can use an angle, correct? Again, now to show this to you in elevation will be, I think, the same. It's going to look the same in section, but it will go down. It will come down, correct? So this is now converted to an angle over here, correct? And I can fix this angle by welding these two or bolting these two. How these two angles come together is again your choice. You can sketch this out and create a connection of your own and show me. Upload it onto the chat. Suppose these two are angles. This is also an angle and this is also an angle. That is L members. And you want these two L members to join. Can somebody sketch and put it up on chat? What will you do? Ten 33 हो गए हैं बच्चे. Next class. Is somebody sketching something for me?
Mamta, can you repeat what we need to sketch? We couldn't
Two
see.
angles coming together at an angle.
Okay.
What is this finally we're not the babies? Acha, because the new first year is coming. Okay. For me, second years are always my babies because you're my class. You don't get to grow.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So it's okay. ये एंगल है ना, ये एंगल है, ये एंगल है, ये एंगल है. ये दोनों को मुझे डायगनली जोड़ना है. एक स्केच बना के दिखाओ ये कैसे जोड़ोगे आप. Where is Sham? Sham is there in class or no?
I am.
चलो शाम मुझे स्केच करके दिखाओ. ये दोनों ऐसे ज्वाइन होना चाहिए. कैसे ज्वाइन करोगे? If they are both flats, it's not a problem. This is one flat, I'll just bolt. But if there are L angles, how will I do this?
Okay, I will try.
Try. Right, till then we can move ahead. Again, a little kind of revision from what we did, right? Can you see this? Now here the levels are different. ये वाला बीम अलग लेवल पे यहाँ पे बोल्ट हो रहा है, ये वाला बीम अलग पे हो रहा है. But this is connecting to the flange web. Sorry, this is connecting to the flange. Correct? That's why they've used angles and bolts at the top and the bottom of this beam, while here they have made use of the web to connect it. Does this answer your question? Someone was asking me this question. Yeah. So even if it is at the same level, you can still use these L angles and fix it at the top and the bottom. Ideally, I would advise welding at this web and this web ke joint pe. Okay, then make it a rigid connection over there. Here this is connecting to this web, but there are two beams. So that means it's an intermediate member that we're talking about, not an end member where this thing continues. Again L angle, again bolts. यहाँ पे weld use किया गया है, यहाँ पे bolt use किया गया है, but why is this jumping around? Yeah. So all these are shear connections. We've already seen this. This is just like a quick look at all this, right? So these are shear connections because they are not completely sort of fixed and made rigid. This is again these two at the same level like we did saw earlier, right? So these are now moment connections. How do you fix this up? How do you make them rigid? They've added plates here to make it rigid. They've added welds here to make it rigid. यहाँ पे प्लेट यूज किया है, बोल्ट्स भी यूज किया है, वेल्डिंग भी यूज कर दिया है, यहाँ पे एक एक्स्ट्रा प्लेट डाल दिया है, सब कनेक्ट कर दिया, so पूरा rigid. There's no scope for movement anywhere, which is why these are moment connections. And like I had mentioned earlier, how does this bend if it's a moment connection? If you check Shirish's video, you'll see this part will not bend, then it will start bending from here. Correct? So if I draw an elevation, your shear connection can go like this, your shear will bend like this, while for your moment connection, let me be a little careful, it will go like this and then bend, right? This is the difference between a moment connection and a shear connection. Let me try to draw this again properly. Yeah, this is not happening.
Mamta,
Yeah.
the top left image. So how does that work for the floor? Because the beams are upper niche, so it has to be at a level, no, like both
Yeah,
of them.
this is not a floor level. This is very obviously not at floor level. ये जो है ये सब floor level पे नहीं हो रहा है. Okay? This is happening at some intermediate level. Your floor is somewhere else. This is happening at a floor level, which is why they probably did this. Okay? And here, this way, you're assuring that all these members come in one line. So it eliminates the trying of or attempting to put these together at the same level, right? Because I'm going to use this as my finished surface, correct? So these members, you can see this is a larger beam. So ये गर्डर बन गया, हाँ, गर्डर लिखा है इधर, ये गर्डर बन गया, ये बीम ऊपर आ गया. So the spacing of this beam will be such that it can take the flooring material. If it is not, we will introduce joists, correct? You remember how we did it in timber?
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, so if this beam and this beam are far away, I'll introduce a third member, which is joists, which are smaller steel members going in that direction there, so that I can use a finishing member. तो मेरा flooring इसके ऊपर आ जाएगा. Sorry for the bad drawing. Did you understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Simple है. Just जैसा timber किया, timber change करके steel कर रहे हैं. और स्टील में बहुत मजा आ रहा है बिकॉज इजी है सब कनेक्ट करने के लिए. कॉम्प्लिकेटेड टिम्बर का जॉइनरी नहीं है. वेरी सिंपल. टेक प्लेट्स, टेक एंगल्स, बोल्ट देम टुगेदर, वेल्ड देम टुगेदर, खत्म.
But Mamta, for the floor, instead of joist, I've seen sometimes they use the deck sheet also, the roller deck sheet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you can use a deck sheet.
okay.
You can use a deck sheet. Deck sheet is that wala, na?
Yeah, the corrugated type wala.
हाँ, और ऐसा ऐसा वाला, करेक्ट?
Yeah.
हाँ, तो डेक शीट यूज कर सकते हैं ना, तो डेक शीट को भी कुछ सपोर्ट चाहिए ना, तो सपोर्ट देना पड़ेगा, या तो इधर सपोर्ट देंगे या तो इधर सपोर्ट देंगे। इसको भी हम लोग वेल्ड करेंगे या तो बोल्ट करेंगे, करेक्ट? I may not require either here or here. Got it?
Yeah.
See, so simple. You don't need to know steel. You can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, this is semi-rigid they're talking about because it allows for some amount of movement around the joint. Therefore, it is semi-rigid. Now, I want to quickly wrap up. You can do a little revision. This is one example of the Tate Modern at London. Huge columns. These are like gigantic columns, composite columns built together. But look at the kind of space that you achieve, right? इतना बड़ा span, single column भी नहीं है, empty जगह है. यहाँ पे these are those girders that we saw earlier. These are also all built up. This you guys have to tell me how to join. You are not telling me. Okay, some bad pictures which I click, but this is the way that they have been connected together. Look at the number of bolts. Okay, amazing. Look at that, and look at the size of that column. Plate idhar ek plate, udhar ek plate, yahan pe angle. Lots of things happening, and how finally this sits into the concrete, we'll see next time. I'm going to leave the class today with this funny, interesting slide. I really find this very interesting. Okay, this is not steel, but what do you learn from whatever I've told you today, or what do you learn from understanding a material? This is what you learn, right? His material is titanium. It's got pre-tensile titanium steel tentacles. Okay, understand what this object has to do for you. It has to move around freely. It has to move in 360 degrees. It should be able to do that. It has some motor connection because it has to hold things. Okay, do you understand? So what is very important to understand is that this titanium steel alloy is light. हल्का होना चाहिए ना, नहीं तो you won't be able to carry the weight. It has to have high tensile strength because you can see it is moving around doing these things. High melting point, नहीं तो we can kill this guy. And a thin wall rigidity. These are all these tiny members that have been put together. So the section of these members are patla, but they have to have that strength. So they can snap and break off, right? At any of these points, correct? Right? So what you understand is you design something, you want something to happen, and based on what you want something to happen, you make the choice of your material, you make the choice of the property of that material. These are two different properties, and you make the choice of the connection. How does all this come together so that it's flexible, it can move around, it can rotate around, and it can do your job. Okay, so I really found this thing very apt to be able to explain all this. Got it? So next time we'll do, what's the time? Have we overshot?
10:45, I think.
Chalo, chalo. You guys take a break and start your next class. We'll meet next time with foundations. We'll do steel foundation. Okay. थोड़ा अगर heavy हो गया है, we can go through it again. We can repeat it. Don't worry. We have all the time. But are you having fun with steel? Do you think steel is a fun material to deal with?
I
Yeah.
still don't know how it works with infill or slab, and I'm too afraid to ask at this point.
How it works on?
How it works with like the infill and slabs. Like I can understand how the framework itself stands.
Okay, we'll do that. I'll make you do it. You tell me now. What do you want to fix steel do? We'll do it. Right? Let's do it next class.
Oh god, okay.
Each
Because like I
one of
know. Huh.
each one of you bring what you want to infill it with. Let me see your choices, and then we'll work it out. We'll design ना, हम लोग designer क्यों हैं? हम लोग बनाएंगे. ठीक है?
Especially because I plan on using it for my toilets and IDS, so that's going to be very complicated if I have to pass plumbing through it and the cavity balls and all that logic.
So passing plumbing through, we saw na Crystal Palace में rainwater pipes,
हाँ
downtake pipes आए थे. We saw that, right?
हाँ
So how difficult is it? Okay. So bring your material next time. Tell me what you want to fix steel to or what you want to fix to the steel, and then we'll work with it. Okay? We'll design our own connections.